Okay, are we live? I do not know. I think so. Oh, something's happening. Things are happening. All right, looks like it's good. This is a surprise, completely random stream by me because I'm now doing, I was going to do some music experiments for the multiplayer first-person shooter game. Obviously, the game will eventually have music. It's Sunday. I was like, hey, I should do some music-y stuff. So here I am. Anyways, let's get started, I guess. You may not know that I'm a weird musician. I've been doing audio engineering and recording and mixing, mastering, etc. for many, many years, probably 20 years. Full-time, maybe 5 years when I ran my own studio. So I know a lot of it. And yeah, so let's take a look here. What I want to do today is come up with some ideas for what the music could sound like. To me, it's a game soundtrack should be like somewhat unique and identifiable. I think all music, honestly, should strive to be unique and identifiable because a lot of music is just the same as music you've already heard. It's always cool when someone does something different. So our first option here that we could do is I was making an open. It's going to be what's going to be an open source like video game project, which I still have to put on GitHub or whatever, where anyone could download this and use it in any game ever. It's made entirely out of free sounds, and it doesn't use any plugins that don't come in with Reaper. So it's like, in theory, you could work on this for free. You could add to it for free, whatever. This was made for the game like 0K or Bar, which are RTS StarCrafty kind of games. But they use like robots, and the robots attack each other, so it has kind of a mechanical feel to it. But it's got all sorts of tracks from peacetime to wartime, defeat, briefing, whatever. It's basically right now it's the bare bones you could kind of get away with. I'd probably add a few more songs to it. If I was doing going to use this for the multiplayer one, I'd probably add a bunch more. We might start with this and then move into something else. I guess we'll kind of play it by ear and see how it goes. But like here's kind of what these tracks sound like. Again, it's a 90s feel. Nothing. A big difference in the 90s stuff is it was all like you didn't really have organically generated sounds. You had more like samples of sounds and you just kind of put them together. So it's got kind of an old school vintage vibe to it as well. That may be a bit loud. We could use these songs if we wanted for our game. And have everything sound like that. And then, so that's peacetime in 0K when you're building your base before anyone attacks you, like that stuff would play. Then when you get into the game and stuff, it gets more intense. So, various songs for wartime that are more like energetic and exciting without being too distracting, hopefully. This is like the briefing song for like a menu or something. Again, it's like the RTS game's like a war game, so a lot of the stuff is more probably war oriented that I would kind of want. Like this was meant to be an RTS specific pack. Third war song. More of a conventional kind of rock song for the third war song here. Kind of a blend of like ambient kind of noises into exciting parts. Anyway, so that's option one. We take this project, extend it, and use this stuff. Option two is what I'm going to do right now and experiment with, which is going to be like, well, can I come up with a specific soundscape for this game that suits this game well? What would that sound like? So I've just downloaded a few plugins, and like that other project uses no downloaded plugins or anything that doesn't come with Reaper. And that's kind of like the point of that project is so that anyone will be able to work on it. Anyone can download it, export the songs they want. Or like, if they don't like a part of a song, they can get rid of it. It's for flexibility. if we do our own project for this game, we don't really have those same constraints. We don't have to do things using just stock plugins. We can use any sounds we really want. So I just wanted to experiment with some sounds, see what we can come up with. I've already come up with this weird idea. I just downloaded some free plugins, and some of them have pretty unique sounds to them. So I think what could be cool is experimenting with some of these sounds here. This is just like a synth, and we'll mess with that. But what I really want to mess with also is these percussive sounds that come with this monster drums thing that someone has generously created, which has a ton of percussive kits in it. And we can just kind of like fiddle with those, and I bet we can come up with something somewhat interesting tonally with those. And then what my plan is, so let me just demonstrate here real quick. Actually, I'll just use the synth. So that's a synth, obviously a pretty normal synth, but there's this one plugin that might become the basis of the sound of this whole experiment that I've been interested in right here, Buffer Glitch. I don't know what it's doing, but it makes everything conform to a very specific sound. And like, believe it or not, I can actually work with that. So what I might do is just kind of like, you just mix everything with that sound. Like half the sound will just be that weird generated sound, so that the music has a very distinctive feel to it. It's like, it's not a chip tune, but it's reminiscent. Every sound in it will be reminiscent to a chip tune, which will just be like kind of weird. It's like a hi-fi chip tune. And then so we can also experiment with like this octave shift and stuff, and just kind of come up with all sorts of wacky sounds with this. So like, and that's cool on there, whatever, like, you know, that's an interesting pad, interesting textures going on. But what if also even the drums have it, let's say? Like, what happens? Okay, that was probably really loud. You're probably really angry at me, rightfully so. Luckily, I think I turned down the send to the computer, so hopefully that didn't blow your eardrums out. I apologize if it did. So here's a kick drum. What happens with a kick drum? And I think there's like, okay, cool. So what happens with this crap if we just put this weird plugin over it? Does it sound interesting? That would be problematic because it sounds like multiple kicks, kind of. What can we do with this? Can we make something cool? I have no idea what these settings would do. Again, the mix knob is blending the sound. You can, the nice thing about Reaper is this is on every single plugin. You can always blend the plugin sound with the original sound. So there's probably potential to do also, like, this is the triggering the kick, but also you can hear this is sustain on the on this actual plugin, so you could actually make the kicks more percussive by not having the plugin affect them for that long. So that's potentially something. Like, I'm not saying any of this sounds good, but there's something there that we can use. Like, there's an idea there that can be the basis of this whole thing. The other nice thing about using this plugin that makes everything half chiptune is it also makes everything much easier to mix as well. I actually just want to try one more experiment. So that was just me trying a mid-focused kind of, this is a very strange EQ, but a mid-focused EQ to see kind of what that sounds like. Because I think I would prefer to keep this mostly pretty contained in terms of, like, I want to be almost minimalistic sounding and not take up much frequency space. For voice over IP things and for game sounds, I don't really want the music track absolutely dominating, like a full orchestral performance or anything where you're just like, You know, because that is pretty tricky to mix that in with the rest of the game sounds and have them be audible. And I think the game sounds will be essential to gameplay. So I don't think we want to really be risk covering them up with music and whatnot. So probably something fairly minimal. So let's just take a look at what we have for sounds on this thing. Like what do we have here that actually sounds cool that we can use? How do I even switch this? There we go, it's here. Vintage Rock Kit. Probably not what we want, really. We probably want something like weirder. So, not looking for that. I'm looking for something very minimal. That's not bad. Like world instruments like tablas and stuff. That could be interesting. What is this? I do like this. I'm going to keep that. It is weird. I like the weirdness of that. What instrument is this? I have no idea what this is called. Weird Awesome is what it's called now. Weird Awesome. Okay, so we have Weird Awesome. Now we're going to move on to this next one here. Let's just mute that for now. Solo this guy. It's going to be tough to figure out which one's which. There we go. Coca-Cola Kit. Let me guess this is entirely made out of a can of Coke. No, doesn't sound like it is. No idea what's called Coca-Cola Kit. It's kind of generic. I don't know how these are getting the names like Toothbrush Kit and stuff. Oh, that's a terrible sounding China. But the rest of it was fine. Ragged Kit. That kick's not bad, actually. The snare's not bad for a laid-back snare, but if you want an aggressive snare, you're going to want something... Oh, dear God, what have I done? You're going to want something like... This one has a pretty half-decent snare. Anyways, going back to... Oh, wait. It's got a chiptune one? Cool. Oh, cinematic. I get what they're going for with that. Reggae. Let's see what this is. I like those toms. I think we should just keep the sounds of these in there. Just cause I think between these two, we'll have some interesting enough sounds. So world music mixed with chip tunes, mixed with whatever that plugin is, and that'll be the weird sound of our game so far. Let's just, I guess we'll just start with a beat and actually try. Let's see what we can do. What are you? What is your range? And what is... Okay, so there's some stuff up here too, which is interesting. Ding-a-ding-a-ding-a-ding-a. All right. Like a keyboard or something would be nice, but I just don't really have one at this time. Like just on my computer. I have one upstairs. I should probably move downstairs because you could probably do this a lot faster with... There's a few ways you could do this. You could also just do it with your fingers and just like hit a desk with a microphone and then translate that into MIDI. That would be less effective than a MIDI keyboard, but you could, in theory, do it. All right, let's see what this is. Okay, we don't want you. Okay, let's see. What are these other sounds we have here? Wasn't there another? Okay. So just experimenting. Most things, it depends on the kind of person you are. But what I do is I make something that sounds bad, then I come back and just fix it up. Like, I find it easier to refine something that exists than it is to make something perfectly at the start. I know some of my friends are different. They'll spend a long time like on just this, trying to make something like that they really like, and then they'll go on to the next part. Kind of depends who you are. I find that for me, that's too difficult. So we'll do Weird Awesome 2. We'll almost treat that like cymbals, so it's almost going to be like a different track entirely. And then we'll have kind of this bottom part here. So nailed it. That'll do. Okay. Now we're gonna try this weird thing. You guys see where I'm going with it? I think it'll actually be cooler on this high part here. So weird. So weird. The one thing that I don't exactly like about it is the notiness of it. Because it gives it a very defined note. And like that's not ideal. Okay, that's kind of cool. So maybe the drums will be more organic, and then because I don't really want it adding notes to the drums, I don't really like you can do notes on drums, and when you tune a drum kit, you actually can tune it to notes so it fits the song kind of better. But I've never really liked the sound of having too much note in drums because I always think like, and the odds are if you put notes, because when you tune drums, you tune your kick a certain way in the toms. All of those notes are never not going to be dissonant with the song, basically. Like, if you play two toms at once, even if they're tuned to the song, generally, at some point in some chord of the song, those are not going to be resonant. I've never been a big fan of too much note in drums. More so all about, like, the percussive aspect of it rather than the actual decay being a note. But that might just be me. Moving on here. Let's make a melody that's not... horrifyingly evil, I guess would be. What key should we put this in? I want to put it in a key, probably, I'll do E minor, because I have an 8-string guitar behind me, and like, if I do an E minor, I have it kind of tuned to that anyway. So I can just play along with it if I need guitar. Even though I don't think I'll actually use any guitar, there might be some soundscapes or something that use guitar in this that I'll do. I'm not really... Wait. E. Actually, should it be minor or should it be major? Should it be happy? Should the songs be happy? I guess they can be. I don't really see why they'd be sad. It's kind of a zany, fun game. I don't think they need to be... yeah, they should probably be happy. The game's not meant to be, like, scary or anything. Well, it's not going to be super exciting, is it? Actually, one other thing I should do is probably actually... fiddle with the sounds of this and find something that's cool. We don't need that on right now. We don't need that on right now. We actually need to find a sound that works for what's going on here. So let's just repeat it and see what we got. Apologize for your ears again. Don't know why that was so loud, but it was. so like right now that's almost a polyrhythm because I'm stopping it on a third. Well, it's not really polyrhythm. It's just like a strange. I don't even know what you call that. Just 3 bars instead of 4 bars. Just tripping over itself a little bit. I could do it polyrhythmic and make it really weird. Should we do polyrhythms? How weird do we want this shit to be? I don't know about that idea. Polyrhythms generally sound bad. That's when you do like, I guess I could demonstrate it. Oh man, I love polyrhythms because I'm like a musician. I like making really weird shit. But it like then no one will like the soundtrack because they'll be like, why is it hurting my brain? Why does it keep like tripping over itself? It sounds so weird. It's when you do like different instruments are in different time signatures completely. So like one's in like 1, 2, 3, 4, and one's going like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the one's going like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then they kind of like they line up eventually and they kind of morph around each other. You don't have to do those ones. You can do anything you want. You can do like 3, 4, and 4, 4. You could do like 7, 4, and 4, 4. Anything you want. You don't even have to do 4, 4 at all. You can just do 7, 4, and 3, 4, and then that would sound like insane. You can do it. You can do anything you want with music, but it would not typically be something someone would listen to. It would probably not be very pleasing. It would be interesting and very textural. Bands like Meshuggah do a lot of polyrhythms, and they do a lot of things to make the polyrhythms sound actually good. They're not really just doing straight polyrhythms. They're kind of doing a lot of stuff around them that make them kind of more appealing than than just doing straight crazy polyrhythm shit it usually is. But yeah, I guess I'll avoid that for now anyway. That was an interesting texture though. Like without this, like this is weird. It's probably a little too like creepy for me, but to use that. But like a good pluck would be fine too. That's a crazy synth. I'm not really looking for anything nearly that intense. Probably a pad of some sort would be, it's kind of cool. Chill keys. Actually, something would be really cool is if there's like a nice like arpeggiated arrangement, so I don't have to do any work. Like, who wants to do any work when you can just like be like, give me an arpeggio that sounds cool already, or some kind of sequence. There you go. Give me something that sounds cool, so I don't have to do anything. That's a weird sequence. Okay, let's not do that. Bizarre. Okay, pads it is, I guess. I actually don't mind that. Like, just a simple saw might be like pretty good. Like that is kind of nice. I don't know. Let's try a few more. That's another problem. It's like when you have any kind of synth with presets, you just like spend all your time on the presets. That one seems to make almost no sound. Might be too low for it. Those are all leads, so I think we'll go back to this string. I think it was this one, wasn't it? Or was it this one? I like this one because it kind of has a bit of a worldly feel to it. Okay. I just added this because I don't actually want it to like be the bass. Really, this is basically this is a cue that's doing a fancy version of a mid focus. It's doing a high pass and low pass, but with a crazy EQ. You could just do it. You could just do it like this too. You could. Oh, there we go. Come on. Yeah, you could also just do this. It just probably wouldn't sound quite as good, but that's what it's doing. Okay, now we'll limit that. Limiter is a very aggressive compressor. It's a compressor with infinite ratio. So how that works is basically, actually we'll just do this. Okay, and before that we'll add a compressor of some sort. Give me something. It has to go before the limiter, of course. I don't know what any of these presets do. Okay, so... yeah. Fast attack, fast release. I'm not going for fidelity. I'm just going for control. This will technically make your sound, on a technical level, sound worse. Most people won't notice or care. This is kind of just meant to be, like, you hear the note and the texture, but it doesn't really take up much room. Because, like... we're probably gonna have a bass in here, and then it'll be the bass and the drums basically, and then just kind of some like patty kind of ideas kind of in the background. No real leads, I don't think, because it's like this is meant to be in the background. So actually, I shouldn't be high passing, low passing a compressor probably. Okay, so the ratio of this should be gentler, the knee size, and then. Again, only applying it with half wetness. So this should be much more controlled now. Actually, I'm just going to crank the sound of this up a bit and get rid of whatever this EQ is because I don't know why it's there. Oh yeah, right. So our problem here is... this is called gain staging. It's like making sure your faders are actually in a range they should be, and you're not like adjusting all your volume only on your plugins and stuff. There's more to it than that. Gain staging is basically like making sure that whatever the level out of this plugin comes out as is like what a good input range for this plugin, because when you use a lot of analog plugins, they react differently to the level of signal that's going into them, right? But with these digital ones, probably doesn't really matter, but you should always kind of keep gain staging in mind. I'm not really going to pay much attention to it in this case because these plugins probably don't care at all, and because these are just, there's no analog emulation on this. It's going to care about an input signal that I believe, and internally floating point processing in DAWs generally has a ton of headroom, so you're not like going to lose fidelity or anything like that. It's not the same as when you export where it has to clamp the values to a range. Internally it has a much larger range. And of course, the drums actually will not just be that plucky either. There's two ways we can do this, actually. Let's just do drums dist bus. So there's a bunch of ways you can compress things, or like it's not really compressing them. There's a bunch of ways you can control sounds and make them more even. So one way we can do that is we can make it so we bus these to this new track. So this is a new bus. A bus is where your tracks come together. Okay, pre-fader, post-effects, pre-fader, post-effects. The reason we're doing that is so that when we adjust the volume of this, it doesn't adjust the volume to this of the send to the bus. Let's call this drums bus. Yeah, so this should be, it should have the sound of these two. Okay, so what we're gonna do is, I don't know if any of the new plugins I just got, because I've only been using like the Reaper plugins for a while. Puberty Simulator, that's interesting. What are you? Are you a distortion? Oh, nice. Okay. We could do something with this. Yeah, there we go. All right, let's get this one I use a lot, but it sounds terrible, and I'd love to have I'd love for Reaper to come in with a with more types of distortion. This is just like the most basic. Like distortion is so useful in mixing. It's so useful because you can avoid a lot of EQing with it. You can avoid a lot of compression with it. You can make things sound kind of bigger. Like you can hear, like this is not compressed. This is just super, super like it's hitting it's a distortion emulation, which is it has the same effect. Like you can see that the waveform isn't like moving as much. It has the same kind of effect. Because you're going, like, wow, that sounds terrible. Why are you? I thought you said you're good at music or whatever. And it's like, yeah. You don't use that like that. You just mix it in, and it just like since this sound is very steady, it adds as like it works as a form of compression of this. It also adds more body and consistency to it. So let's like hear what it sounds like with the other stuff in there as well. So without that sound, whoops, without it, it's like that. And you kind of just want to mix it in, so it just makes it a little more solid. If you don't, you don't have to distort it so much if you don't want to hear the actual audible distortion. Like you could just mix it so it makes it thicker, and but you don't actually hear it actively distorting. I love the sound of distortion, just personally. I just like love the sound of like overdriven circuitry, like adding some kind of like warmth to the sound, kind of. A lot of people describe the sound of that distortion as analog. Most people don't know shit about analog stuff and like what it does or why they like it. They basically like it because it distorts things, and humans like the sound of distortion. Pleasant distortion, that is. They don't like the sound of like bad distortion. They just like pleasant distortion. Well, you could argue whether or not this is actually pleasant distortion. You know what's really interesting about this though is how it's almost working as a transient designer. Like, oh, I should probably get rid of the metronome as well. Because you can hear like for some reason it really accentuates the transients, which is actually kind of cool. Oh, I can get rid of these tracks. They're just old tracks that I was like messing with earlier, just for fun. One thing that'd be cool to do is maybe like have this automatically kind of pan left and right to have more motion in it, kind of. Okay, and then you always are going to put a limiter of some sort and probably a compressor on your master as well. So we'll just do that now, because you probably, like, this is debatable, and a lot of people debate whether you should do this or not. Mix into a master or not mix into a master, like, limiter. Depends on your preferences and who you are, I guess, but I do it because like if I know I'm going to master it myself anyway, this is the master. Like I'm mixing it, and the final product is like what it sounds like. One thing I would like to do, I think there's a new plugin that might do it, is add a bit of presence to this. Loudness Warwinder, that's a hilarious name for a limiter. Okay, crisp. That is intense. I'm not sure exactly what this is for. This sounds like a high-passed distortion, like it's only distorting the top part of a frequency. I thought that might be more like this, which is what I'm actually looking for. Where are you, presence? This is a great plugin that comes stock with Reaper. I'm just looking for like a little bit of a boost in the air kind of frequencies to a degree. Okay. So let's actually do something with this here. I guess we could just have it just keep doing that, but this won't be the most exciting track ever, apparently. Okay, that spectral compressor is just going too nuts. I kind of like its weird shakiness. It's like trying to transform the sound into pink noise, but we won't let it quite do that. We'll just do it like that. So it's like half there. It's kind of an interesting texture. Almost sounds like a shaker. Before we compress and limit it, we will cut out the bass of this. Don't know if we'll cut the bass out that much. I'm going to duplicate this and see what I can do for kind of like a bass. I don't know why that's all capitals. All right, there we go. To see if like there's something I can just kind of do for a bass sound. I don't really know what that will be. Bonk. Bonk. Maybe it goes there. Now we're just going to find a sound for this in Vital if we can. Vital's free. I just downloaded some random presets for it, and I'm just making do with those. I used to have tons of plugins and stuff, but now I don't do as much music stuff, so I just kind of like download random crap and then just make the project work with whatever I have. Okay. That could be cool. Ding ding. Interesting. I'm not actually opposed to it not being a traditional bass sound, right? Because it could be still cool even if it's just like keys like low like that. That was actually like fairly interesting. Hello, YouTube people. Welcome to the stream. Let me know if you have any ideas or want to see me attempt anything or have any questions about mixing or music or anything. And I will attempt to answer you. But for now, fiddling with this, seeing what this turns into. Just leave it like that. Just leave it sounding horrible. Game key. That sounds promising. One thing with this is like this might be like just an octave too low for a lot of these. That's one issue I always have with synths is like when you try and sample them, a lot of the time they sound better, the best in different ranges, and you can't really ever go through a whole list and actually hear what they're supposed to sound like. Often they'll be like too low. I don't know if anyone has any way of fixing that, but it always has been something that's annoyed me over the years. Like they should, like when the synth makers design the synth, they should be like, your synth should sound good in this at this note, and it should be like C3 or whatever. Because often you'll get like, you know, there'll be an octave up or down where they actually start to sound like what they're supposed to sound like. Like that would be an example of it right there, because it sounded like nothing an octave down, right? And it's probably supposed to sound like this, which sounds pretty cool actually, but you wouldn't really know that. Inner Bloom brass lead. Dear God. Try that. Does this sound good at an octave down? Can I use this as bass? Oh, I think I can. This is like an interesting candidate for that weird glitch thing too. Wherever that was. Where were you? I wonder what Diopser does. There we go, that's cool. There we go. That's cool, that's cool. You know, that's not bad. We could try, I don't know if there's actually any, well, we should check first with an EQ. Is there actually any high data in the sound at all? There is, actually. Yeah. So one thing about that bass is like, that bass is cool, but it also kind of needs to act like a lead to a degree, because it's like, there isn't really anything in the higher treble ranges besides like the percussion. Like this stuff is kind of like in the mids, because I've kind of trapped it in the mids, right? I did that intentionally. A little bit to open up space in the mix so everything's nice and clear, which means that in the high mids there's kind of nothing. So what we'll do is we'll just add this presence thing here, boost this, so it's got more of like an actual like lead quality to it as well. And then it should stick out a lot more. This doesn't really need to be compressed or anything because of the nature of generated sounds. It's already quite consistent. That's not true of every single sound that you generate, but it is true of this one. You can see that it's fairly like controlled as is. Like you can see right on the EQ, which apparently isn't showing anything anymore. That is weird to me. Did I do something to this? That is weird to me. It didn't show the spectrum. Am I going crazy? Oh, right, because it was before the plugin, right? Yeah. I love that sound of like really woody, strange stuff. Like this sound. I actually wanted to like reduce that band, but now I kind of like want to like see if I can actually do something with that. Like, can I get it to sound woody and still be like cool and work? All right. Maybe. Oops, that's not right. Three EQs in a row, how crazy. Let's do that on this one. That's cool. Checking mono occasionally too, just to make sure nothing's going too crazy. Alright, so let's say that that's like a sound that we think is cool. We're good with this. On your master, it sounds to me like we do have too much 150 hertz on some instrument. I believe it's in the drums somewhere. I think it's actually on this track. The proper way to do this would be to split these up into 3 different tracks and just EQ the offending drum, but I'm pretty sure it's this low one, but I'll just do it the lazy way. Actually, it could, one way we can actually do it that will be smart is we can actually just EQ it out of this bus track here. We can actually just be like, let's get rid of some of this here, and then it'll not be in the track. Should get rid of it, actually. That might actually be a little too much. Took a little too much body away, I think. Okay. Okay. So that's a track that we could work with and start doing things with. We can. I wish I had instruments here like shakers and stuff like that, because if I had shakers and stuff like that, I could actually just like do a bunch of organic stuff that actually is organic. And I mean, I could also just like drum on the desk and stuff and use that as sounds stuff to make it a little bit less electronic sounding, because it is like right now it is like completely perfect. Which is fine. What should we do with this? Okay, let's say it just goes that, and then we'll say it. We could try a polyrhythm. We could do it. We could do it. Let's just have this guy who's high. We'll just have this guy become a polyrhythm. There we go. So this is the polyrhythm. We will now see. We'll glue this. So it becomes one thing, and see that this is not 4 beats, it's 5 beats. And eventually we'll be able to see it lines up again here. So this is going to be really weird sounding, and let's just see what happens. So we'll do that one, okay, and that's cool, so whatever. And then we'll do this one, but this one we'll do, now this one will go, should it go 5? Or should it go, it'll go 4, or sorry, 3. So this is 1, 2, yeah, so there should be 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, okay. So that's 3/4. So we'll just do something here with this. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, this should be pretty swingy sounding. Let me just glue that to make sure that it's actually what it is. And now we have 3/4 over 4/4. 3/4 over 4/4. Okay, so that pulsating rhythm, that's polyrhythm stuff. That's kind of a minor version of it. Like, that's pretty subtle polyrhythms, because you're only doing it in the percussion and everything else is staying in 4/4. We can, like, I'm pretty cool with like how that percussion's sounding and how interesting that is, and the movement of it is pretty cool. What else should we do with this? I mean, eventually like, these notes are gonna have to change. It could get a little boring. It depends on kind of the soundtrack you're designing, I guess. You know, like you could just loop this a bunch of times and be like, this is a song. But you probably want to add a little bit more interest in that, because basically right now all it's playing is the root note, and I believe that's just a second, a third. What is? Just a third. Just a second. Okay. Going to the third just sounds better in general. The second's not very musical at all. It's kind of reminds me of kind of like a Pikmin sound or something like that. A Pikmin song. Not that I'm super familiar with that soundtrack, but from what I heard in Super Smash Bros, it kind of reminds me of that. It might be a bit fast, actually, I don't know. Maybe it was better faster. Oh yeah, this probably needs to change as well, because it's probably not doing the... yeah. Oh, that's second... wait, what am I doing? Am I crazy? Why is this keyboard confusing me so much? Okay. So right now it's just with just playing the root note in the second, it's playing in a weird space where it's both major and minor at the same time, and I think that's part of the reason why it sounds kind of like it does, is it's like it doesn't really sound happy nor sad because those notes are in both the major scale and the minor scale, so it's non-determinate what it actually is at the moment, which is kind of interesting. It could be an interesting sound just to kind of have everything like that. It sounds kind of like puzzly and weird. That would put it firmly in major. Make this one a bit different here. Boop a doop boop boop. Oh, there we go. I wonder if we could break these parts up by having this kind of switch, like, so it's just like a little bit weird, like. Now it sounds evil. Just add interest so it's like not always the same thing. Maybe this one can too, actually. Like wherever the rhythm changes, it just changes like the notes it does. That could be kind of neat. actually have this one line up. I guess it does line up there. It does line up at that spot. And then we could just kind of copy the whole thing, and they have a 2-minute song. You could do leads and stuff over it, like maybe some interesting... Well, another thing you could add to this that is fairly common to add is like literal sounds that aren't notes, like just soundscape kind of stuff. For like our puzzly first-person shooter game, I don't know exactly what that would be. What some good sounds to go in the background kind of would be. So maybe I won't add those because I'm not sure like what they should be. Because like obviously you do like air raid sirens and stuff like that, and war songs and like war sounds, planes flying over, things like that. In a puzzle game, I'm not sure what sounds you would typically add. This is not a bad start to just like a generic song for the game. Like we could just use this for now and then kind of add to it and add more songs and keep the vibe going with like these instruments, change the synths out a bit, change the drums out a bit. Actually, one thing I did delete the tracks that had them, but I had a conventional kick and snare that I kind of wanted in there for accenting. Actually, let me do that right now. Where's that giant drum plugin thing? Monster Drums, I think it's called. Okay. That's actually not a bad sounding snare. Oh, a cajon. We definitely want this in here too. So I'll just put that in for now because it's another nice like world sound that's easy to work with. Can do more textured layers and stuff. Let's just go. It's a little reverb on it. Yeah, so we like. It's a pretty decent snare sample. It's a little out of tune, but that's okay. Actually, it's fairly heavily out of tune. I'm not sure if I should use a drum that's that out of tune. And by out of tune, I mean you can hear in the warble at the end, it's like really dissonant. Like here. It's probably a little too dissonant for what we're looking for here. What are these things? How do I... Is there a... This is a strange plugin because it's got like different, like, it's got different controls on like every single thing. I don't really like the non-organic sound of that, like how it's kind of like a little digital. Maybe that first kit. That's pretty good. I don't know if we can... Oh, there's a global reverb on it. That'll work. That sounds pretty close. Snare. Just for impact at some parts and maybe some turnarounds and rolls. Let's see what we can do. Come on, snare. This is the cajon kit. I have done something wrong. Track 3. Okay, snare. I have reversed them by accident. Okay, let's see where our snare is. Was that it? Is that the snare? Can I see in here? No, snare 2. I want snare 1. Oh, right. It's because I have this key snap on. That's what's going on. There it is. Okay, good sounding snare. Pretty decent sounding snare anyway. We can work with that. Okay. I'll just work with it in this view. It's probably the easiest. Figure out where I want some snares and rolls or whatnot to go. make a blank MIDI. Oh no. There we go. Copy you. Glue this all together. We need some toms and stuff for like turnarounds, just for pretty normal fills or whatever. Just put some kind of like weird rough things around. Just some more texture. More groove. This is probably quite a bit too much, but we'll see. Some ghost notes and stuff in here, just to make it interesting. What other sounds are in here? Probably a better pattern for a hi-hat or something than a snare, really. The snare should probably just be used for accenting, and we can use a hi-hat for this. Like kind of like a more melody. Where's that buffer thingy? I wonder what happens if we throw that on there. One problem with that is the notes are too long, so it almost sounds like a dial-up modem or something. So that's another layer of random stuff we can use for some things, I guess. think it might be nicer to put the reverb after. Just use a... Okay. So often, I have no idea how well this will work, but that adds a lot of warmth, like analog sound, tape sound, whatever you want to call it. This is like a distortion mimicking a vacuum tube, I assume, on the master. This is probably pretty heavy-handed, but you can hear it softens it a lot. I'd feel fine leaving it at this amount. I think this sounds like organic and normal and fine. Like, and you know what this needs? Is a kick drum. Very badly. Just a big old kick drum. Okay, so do we have a good kick drum here? I think the kick on the metal kit was okay. Yeah, that's a nice kick. That sounds pretty good. We'll go with that. Bunk. We can probably just use that drive on this and get like a nice round kick just with that vacuum thing alone and maybe some limiting or something. Let's see. That's obviously a little too much, but okay. One thing this kick is actually missing is a sub kick. Like, it doesn't have much sub kick to it, which we can fix just with this. Plugins, there's a lot of plugins that do this kind of thing, where they just like are, I don't know what you call them exactly, a harmonic enhancer, I guess, of a certain frequency range. So probably lower than that. We probably want like more like 60 hertz. Like we want a sub kick. Yeah, that's helping quite a bit. So that's kind of cool. Maybe even lower. Can we actually hear it? There you go. All right. Yeah, that's a nice kick. One of the issues with that kick is you're like hearing like a weird papery sound. That's probably somewhere between 500 to 1,000 hertz range that does that. I'll see if I can find it here and show you. You always want to EQ this out when you hear this paper sound. It's sometimes called basketball sound as well, around the 500 range. Like it sounded like dribbling a basketball almost. Anyways, if you get rid of it, your kick will sound a lot more like a conventional kick. I still hear it. Yeah, that's garbage. There you go. this will come in on the second round. So polyrhythm's complete, and then it'll just get more intense with like this stuff. This should be really subtle, like the snare. It's like it should barely be audible. One thing that would be interesting is to have, I guess the bass kind of does it. The bass always keeps kind of a consistent like turnaround where you always know kind of where it is. Placement better. Not sure if I like exactly that weird I guess we should key snap it back to E again. Here, isn't it? I'll see like a turnaround or something here to indicate that something's going to change. Forgot about these bad boys. There we go. Should be called toms, I guess, because that's probably what we'll use it for mostly. Cool. I wonder if this has a snare. Is that supposed to be the snare? Maybe that's supposed to be the snare. It's total just 80s randomness here. Totally. Is there symbols in this, actually? A what? So this is a song of sorts, I guess. It's something. It's interesting, it's weird, and I think we'll just go with it. Okay. So let's mix this a little bit. Kick's too loud. Checking mono. Weird. Okay. I think that's probably pretty good. Alright, it's a song. What does this have for us? Interesting. This cajon makes no sounds. What is wrong with you, cajon? You made sounds before. But now you don't want to. Interesting, interesting. Maybe I'll make a new track and try that again. I think I prefer something not as abrasive as that hi-hat is. Maybe I'll just throw it out and switch it with the cajon if I can. Come on, come on. I don't even know where it is in here. There it is. It does have an out. Oh. Did I just like... I wonder if bells would be okay. That's pretty intense. Distort the crap out of it. Okay. Weird music. Will it stay this way? Probably not. But it's something that we can... Probably the biggest problem will be changing out these things, which aren't really doing anything exciting, to some kind of cooler thing. But we have an interesting percussion track. Try some experiments with this right now. it's not evil, I guess. Actually, I can do... It's got a little bit of an evil tonation to it because that's making it minor, but it's kind of cool. I would prefer if this had a lot more mid-range to it though. Not that kind of mid-range. I figured out what's going on. That massive gain boost. That's something. Is it good? I don't know. Is it music? Probably. It's probably a bit intense to always be in there. Another sound to go here. Sounds intense. That'd be alright. There we go. It's kind of cool. Make it more danceable or something. We'll just have it go like bam, 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 so everyone can dance as they play the game. Okay. Actually, it should be on the opposite beat. Intense. weird toms for now. It's intense. Make it that evil. I could also make it not so evil. What does the synth actually do? Simple, I guess. Oh god, it exploded. It exploded right as it was getting okay. Let's keep it going. Let's see if we can get it not to explode. Oops. That's not what I wanted. something. Music is happening, sort of. Trying to use this like a multi-band compressor. It's a little difficult. I might just use a multi-band compressor because it's actually easier than this interesting plugin that I've been experimenting with. This plugin's pretty cool though. Okay. This is kind of a bit odd because technically it should make this part dancey, I guess. This part will be the danciest part. Just randomly out of nowhere, I guess. We double these up actually. I mean, the real way to do that would be the proper way, where you move this back and you actually sidechain this, but I'm too lazy to do that, and it sounds kind of fine anyway. But okay. This does not sound like any normal snare I've ever heard. What's going on here? Very strange sounding. Why are you like this? What have you done to yourself? There's no sends or anything on that, is there? That is weird. All right, well, can't explain what happened there, but okay. Music. So that's probably one whole song, I guess. So it would be like that, and then we'll do a bunch more, and that will be the soundtrack. Kind of weird, puzzly, ambient, strange music with polyrhythms apparently, and world instruments, something like that. So that's how music works. Hopefully it sounds okay. I have no idea. Once you work on something this long, you just lose all objectivity. The mix could be good, could be bad. I'd have to come back to it later and check. Because right now it sounds fine to me, but often you'll get ear fatigue when you work on something for too long. And yeah. But anyways, like in terms of having placeholder music and stuff, this will be just fine for what we need for the game. So I'll add it into the game probably, possibly tonight when during tonight's stream, and I'll like actually throw it in the game, which will sound terrible because I have to host the game and join the game, so it'll be playing twice, which will make it sound dissonant and god awful. So I'll have to figure that out too. But yeah, music for games, and I guess we can make some sound effects and stuff also in a future video. And yeah, we'll have assets for our game, and yeah, that's how you make stuff. All right, thanks for tuning in. Catch you next time. I mean, I guess I'll catch you tonight, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, for more work on the multiplayer FPS game. All right.